Hello everybody, good afternoon and welcome to the United Stand. This is your latest Manchester United news and transfer news, and thankfully we can actually talk a little bit about football after this morning's show being dominated by COVID and its irritating impact on our lives, not only football but our lives as well. So we can sort of do the morning show this afternoon today because we've got lots to talk about. We're going to talk about Frankie de Jong. His father's been talking about a move away from Barcelona. We're also going to be talking about what Manchester Evening News have said about January transfer window. We're also going to be talking about a very interesting Antonio Rudiger of Chelsea. Now, I think this is completely preposterous. However, he is out of contract in the summer and Manchester United have been linked to him. Maybe the German connection. So we'll talk about that as well. Lots of other things I want to get into, as I said. And it's just nice to be... Well, look, also a bit of an update on the COVID situation. Apparently, I've just read there from the Times that they're going to be bringing in mandatory daily testing for the Premier League. There's more and more rumours of more and more clubs in the Premier League having more and more positive cases. So it's going to be very interesting to see. So lots to get into the show. But as you can see, I'm in my Christmas jumper. I've actually been doing a bit of filming for Cooking Goldbridge Cooks Christmas, which will be out later in the week. So look forward to that. But it's not just Goldbridge in his Christmas jumper. It's also, Manscaped. It's holiday season and that means stockings are here to be stuffed. And today's sponsor is Manscaped. And I like doing a bit of Manscaped. So Manscaped's gone global. Obviously, the tools to guarantee you will score under the tree and the mistletoe. Manscaped is the leader in men's below-the-waist grooming with trusted by over 4 million men worldwide. So let's remind ourselves why the Lawnmower 4.0 is so good. Well, as I've said before, trim the grass to make the yard look bigger. That's why it's so good. But a new multifunctional on and off switch plus travel lock created for people who like to travel. The ability to turn the LED spotlight on when you need a more precise shave. The trimmer also allows you to do it in different lengths if you want to. So fully customizable there. It's sleek with a two-toned matte finish and gloss finish as well, even featuring a hot foil Manscaped logo. Very fancy. And also, of course, its wireless charging system uses electromagnetic induction, which can help battery length last longer. Very, very fancy. Not the only thing it will make longer. Along the side, the new Lawnmower 4.0 Manscaped has also launched their brand new performance package, and my personal favourite from that, although you'll get the Weed Whacker, the Crop Preserver, the Crop Reviver, and some very comfy boxer shorts and a travel bag, all of which I have, my favourite is the Weed Whacker because I'm a very busy man and I don't get very much time for grooming. So, this for me is when we have a Manscaped integration, I can actually talk to you and get to nose you, get to work on the nasal hair, especially with Christmas coming up, lots of social events, and I've got quite big nostrils, so you've always got to be trimmed in there. Because Manscaped care about everyone that watches the United Stand, they're giving you a fantastic 20% off plus free shipping worldwide when you click the link in the description. So what are you waiting for? Head over to Manscaped or click the link in the description to get your Manscaped content and items today. And remember, Christmas is coming, so 20% off and free worldwide shipping. They're fantastic presents, actually. You might want to get them for a partner or a friend or something like that. But they are fantastic quality products. I'm a very big fan of the Weed Whacker. That one does what it says on the tin: trim the grass to make the yard look bigger. Which it does. It's a fact, isn't it? If you clear the hedge, it'll make your garden look bigger. So links in the video description for that. 20% off. And big shout out to Manscaped. So, cutting through the Manscaped integration into the Manchester United integration. Let's start. Where should we start off? Let's start off with the more realistic story, I suppose. Let's start off with. Just a bit of a headline as well. Obviously, the game's been called off tonight against Brentford. There is concern about Brighton. I was watching the Q&A on Manchester Evening News very recently, in fact, and basically, tomorrow is the key day, really. United apparently are not training today anyway. It would have been a bit off if United had trained today and then said they couldn't play a game. So United are not training today as we understand it. Tomorrow it will be interesting to see if they do train. Of course, Brighton have got a game tomorrow. I'm not optimistic. Personally, I'm not optimistic that we're going to play this game on Saturday. I really hope we do, but I'm not optimistic. I think Brighton will probably react quite pissed off when they see United have had their game called off, and them having to play Wednesday, Saturday when we've had a whole week off. I wouldn't be surprised if Brighton thought, we fancy a bit of time off. We've got COVID cases as well. So I think we're going to be in the hands of Brighton more than the hands of ourselves, but let's just wait and see. Premier League need to come out and provide some clarity very, very quickly, don't they? They need to start putting some rules in place because at the moment it just seems very... as Samuel Looker said in the Manchester Evening News, What actually was the reason that Manchester United had this game cancelled? How many positive cases have they got? What actually happened? There needs to be some clarity. So we'll see what happens on that. But bringing it back to more optimistic football conversation, I saw somebody saying there, Rudiger and Varane as centre-backs. Well, we will talk about Rudiger, but I want to start off talking about Frankie de Jong. Obviously, Fabrizio Romano was on the show yesterday. Fantastic interview with Beth, if you haven't seen it already. Whirlwind tour of everything that's going on with Manchester United, both in and outgoings as well. I want to take some of your questions in a minute as well. Just for Shiran, who says Chelsea won't sell Rudiger. He's out of contract in the summer, mate. So, yeah, he's out of contract in the summer. There's lots to get through, so, chuck your stuff in. But let's start off with Frankie de Jong. So, we will talk about Rudiger in a minute. I don't think we'll get Rudiger. A lot of respect for Chelsea. They're the champions of the world, basically, and they're in a title race. So, we've got no right, and I'd be pissed off if people were talking about Varane going to Chelsea. So they've got every right to laugh at us. But there is a story coming from Sky Germany about Rudiger and Manchester United. So we'll talk about that in a minute. Let's talk about de Jong. So Frankie de Jong's father, we need Levin, has said that very unlikely that Frankie de Jong will leave Barcelona in January. But Barcelona probably do need the money, and 5 top European clubs have been in contact. Now, Romano did say on the show yesterday that Manchester United have not made any contact with Frankie de Jong or Barcelona. I would suspect that's true. I think it's very interesting, actually, because I want to talk about the prospects of us doing any business in January. Father de Jong, says Kevin Bridge, yes. So, yes, the prospect of bringing Frankie de Jong... I mean, look, I'll nail my flag to the mast on this. I don't think there's any chance that Manchester United... Well, no, I recall that one. Let me put that... I don't think there's much chance that Manchester United are going to sign Frankie de Jong anyway. I think it's too logical. I think it's too mainstream fan opinion, and probably too expensive for Manchester United as well, compared to the competition that will probably be there. I can see him going to Bayern Munich. I think it'd be absolutely... Bayern Munich would suit him perfectly. Nagelsmann would like that sort of player. Barcelona to Bayern Munich, we see it quite a lot. But, maybe go Man City, I don't know. But I don't think Man United will get this deal done anyway. I think it's too logical for Manchester United to do it, and I just don't think it will happen. But it won't happen in January, and I think that's what Frankie de Jong's father's talking about, Father de Jong. He's basically saying that highly unlikely that he leaves in January. I can't see that happening. I mean, Barcelona's financials aren't great, but I just can't see them doing that in January. I certainly think he will end up leaving. I think unless there's a huge turnaround in Barcelona's fortunes, and look, they're not doing very well in the Liga. They're down into the Europa League, so Barcelona are not a catch at the moment. They're a club in crisis, and I do think that players like de Jong will leave. Of the 5 clubs that are interested in him, I would imagine Manchester United would be one of those. He's certainly a player that's available, but I don't think he's going to be a player that's available until the summer. And I think when he does become available, there will be plenty of competition for him. Let's not forget, talking about Chelsea. Chelsea bought in Saul Niguez. That has not worked. Chelsea will still be looking for a midfielder in the summer. And, Jorginho to de Jong, it's not a massive leap. Some would say it's an improvement. So I wouldn't be... I mean, I know they want Declan Rice. Declan Rice will move. Maybe he will go to Chelsea. But Man City like the look of Declan Rice. Manchester United like the look of Declan Rice. And I'm not talking about Declan Rice. I'm talking about the fact that Chelsea, Man City and Man United would all like a midfielder. Liverpool probably wouldn't mind one as well. So there'll be big competition for de Jong. Before de Jong went to Barcelona, he was very close to signing with Spurs. Spurs and Conte have made contact with Barca as Conte's request, says Jayden. Well, and again, there's another club, and people would say, well, he's never going to go to Spurs, but, why would he not? Why would he not go to Spurs? So look, Frankie de Jong is interesting. His father's admitted that 5 clubs are interested, but it's not a deal for January, and I think it's a difficult deal for Manchester United to do. But so Frankie de Jong, transfer interest from Manchester United. Potentially there has been some talks as per his father, but I don't think it's anywhere near Manchester United. And I wouldn't agree with Georgie that Barca are finished. I just think that they're going through a very, very bad patch at the moment, and some clubs do go through it. But some people are laughing that he would never go to Spurs. Could do a Martial swap, says Kern. Look, we have got a very bloated squad, and it's very interesting. I'll talk about this after the Rudiger story, that Manchester United do have a very bloated squad. Now, that's a negative. Don't worry, I'm not about to say why couldn't we play against Brentford when we've got 2 first teams. That is probably true. That's not where I'm going with this. But we have got a very bloated squad. But in that sense, we've also got, some people would call it deadwood. I would almost say assets. And Anthony Martial to Barcelona is probably perfect, considering not Cristiano Ronaldo, Sergio Aguero only went there in the summer and he's retired. So they need a striker, and maybe there is something that Barcelona could do there. I don't know, but look, I wouldn't say it's impossible to get Frankie de Jong, but it's certainly not something that I think is going to happen in the short term. And of course, Ralf Rangnick isn't maybe going to be the manager in the summer. So, would you allow that sort of a deal to happen? Will United let any deal happen in January, considering Rangnick might not be here in the summer? I think that would be naive not to let something happen, but we'll have to wait and see. So let's see what happens with Frankie de Jong. The Rudiger story is really interesting. Now, I saw it via Sport Witness, but I think it's actually sourced by Sky Germany. Antonio Rudiger is out of contract with Chelsea in the summer. I didn't know that was the case. Hello, Mark. Twitch this afternoon. Also, I love you. No Twitch this afternoon, Vishnu. I'm too busy doing the Christmas cooking with Goldbridge at the moment, so I can only be in one place at once. And I will probably do my first FIFA stream. I'm very excited to do it, and that will probably be either 11 o'clock tonight or 3 o'clock tomorrow. We'll see what happens with matches tonight, because I'm meant to be doing a watch along for Man City Leeds, but there's talk of that not happening. And if it doesn't happen, I'll definitely do FIFA. But Rudiger, out of contract in the summer. Real Madrid are very interested in him, and apparently now Manchester United are interested in him. Now, this is a big leap, and I don't really care about respecting other clubs, but I think you have to have a level of class. And I would imagine that these sort of stories happen because a player wants a new contract, and it sort of forces a club to negotiate. Of course, this happened with Alaba. And Real Madrid have become almost like the new... AC Milan were doing it quite a lot. Juventus were doing it quite a lot a couple of years ago. They were picking up these free agents like Ramsey and Rabiot and a couple of others. And Real Madrid have sort of been forced into this because they don't have a lot of money. And obviously they did it with Alaba. And the thing about Rudiger is that if Rudiger does decide to leave Chelsea... Similarly to Paul Pogba, in literally 2.5 weeks, he can legally talk to Real Madrid, the same as Alaba did last year. So Rudiger to Real Madrid is the most likely outcome, I would say, because they can talk to him in January. Manchester United's interest, to me, doesn't really make much sense. I think Manchester United would want Rudiger. I mean, Rudiger and... Varane would be a better centre-back pairing than we can create at the moment. I don't care what anybody says. In my opinion, I think Rudiger and Varane would be the best centre-back pairing we could make if we had him. I'd put him above Maguire, Bay and Lindelof. But I don't think Manchester United can do that deal. Chelsea can still make him stay at their club by getting him to sign a new contract. And Man United can't actually talk to him until the summer because we're in the same club as Chelsea, country as Chelsea. So Real Madrid can start talking to him in January. We can't start talking to him until the summer. It's like if Chelsea want to buy Pogba, they can't talk to him until the summer, but Real Madrid can talk to him in January because it's outside the Premier League. And if anybody doesn't understand that rule, basically if you're a free agent in the summer, you can talk to clubs outside of the country you play in from the January. You can't talk to clubs within the country that you play in until the summer. So, I mean, it's a weird story. I don't think there's anything in it. I'm sure Chelsea fans will be laughing at us, but if they want to... If you want to do that, that's fine. But it is coming in from Sky Germany. I mean, look, why we'd be linked to him? Well, he's a good player, but why we'd be seriously linked to him? I don't know. Maybe because Rangnick's German. I don't know. But I don't think... The thing about Rudiger is he almost reminds me of an Ander Herrera type of player, where he's probably a little bit underrated, and yet he's a bit of a shithouse. And I liked Rudiger before it was fashionable to like Rudiger. I was saying this about a year ago. I quite like Rudiger, and there was even Chelsea fans I know saying you can have him. But he's been brilliant over the last year. I'd be very surprised if Chelsea don't get him on a new contract. But if he wants a change of scenery, they might struggle to do that. But very, very good centre-back. And of course I'd welcome him at Manchester United. It's an interesting story, but I don't think it'll happen. I honestly think that Martial will come good again under Rangnick if given the chance. Cavani will go in the summer, so it should be Ronaldo and Anthony Martial up front, says Lewis Clark. Well, that sort of leads quite nicely into the third story, and we've got a few stories to talk about today, so make sure you subscribe and smash a like on the video, and also we'll be taking your questions. As I say, we haven't done one of these for a while, so Yeah, I mean, I think in relation to Martial, it feeds into the third point. And again, I think it was Manchester Evening News Q&A this afternoon. One of the questions was transfer business in January, to which the reply was probably not. Ranić is a manager that might not be the manager in the summer, so why would you allow him to buy players? Also, Manchester United have got this very bloated squad, so they need to remove players. Also, the third point made was that this will be the first month for Ranić to assess his team. So, the big kicker for me here is that we desperately need a midfielder. This is not new. This is not breaking news. This is an opinion of mine and I think some of yours. Over the last 2 years, I mean, I think the last two summer transfer windows, at the start of the window, I've asked that question: what's your priority signing this summer transfer window? And for the last two, mine's been a CDM. So we need a CDM, a centre midfielder, stroke holding midfielder. We need that sort of midfielder. We've got lots of attacking midfielders. We need a centre midfielder or a holding midfielder. It's a desperate thing. We should have done it last year. We should have done it the year before. We should do it in January. And regardless of whether Ranić's the manager in the summer, the club is crying out for a midfielder. On many levels. Like, some people don't think McTominay and Fred are good enough. Even if you think they are good enough, where's the backup? And even if you think they are good enough, they're going to get exhausted. So you need rotation and you need competition for places. If you think about it up front, we've just spoken there. You've got Ronaldo, you've got Rashford playing at the moment, but you've got Cavani, you've got Greenwood, you've got Martial. You've got lots of competition for places. In the number 10 roles, you've got Sancho, Bruno, Pogba can play there, Donny, Lingard, competition for places. In the midfield, we've got Fred and McTominay. That's it. There's no young player coming through. All right, Donny and Matic seem to be the backups, but, are they the backups? Matic can't seem to play more than half an hour. And Donny, is that his best position? So we need to buy a midfielder, and I think it almost reminds me of the situation last year where we were saying if we buy a centre... Remember last January? We actually were top of the league at one point, and we were talking about the January transfer window and saying we need to buy a centre-back. We need to buy a centre-back because the centre-backs we've got aren't good enough, and we need to buy a centre-back, and it could be the difference between winning the league and not winning the league. And now that sounds like a really stupid statement because we were nowhere near winning the bloody league anyway, and a centre-back would not have changed that. But I would say the same thing again. I think January transfer window, buying a midfielder is the difference between having a good season and a mediocre season. And, I do think that, thanks for the super chat, Stephen, I do think if you brought in a midfielder, it provides depth, rotation options, competition for places, and I think that's so important. So I think that I think United don't and should not be sat there going, we've got it's a flawed argument on two levels. One, you're not going to get somebody because Ranić won't be here in the summer. Well, he will be here in the summer. He'll be a sporting director or he'll be the manager. So that's not an excuse. Two, we've got a bloated squad, so we need to sell before we buy. That's a load of nonsense. We're not bloated in the midfield. We're very, 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 very threadbare in the midfield. So United should be looking to buy a midfielder. And look, the ideal midfielder for me is the lad from Leipzig. That sort of profile, Amadou Hidera. I think he's absolutely fits the profile because 30 million quid, 23 years of age, loads of potential, not pressured to go straight into the team, but could go straight into the team and offers that competition. That's the sort of midfielder United should be looking at. That's the sort of signing Manchester United should be trusting Ranić for. Because when he becomes the sporting director to Ten Hag or Pochettino or whoever, he will be having this conversation anyway. So I think United would be foolish not to buy a midfielder in January. Whether we'll buy one or not, I don't know. But the indications are that we might not because we have got a very big squad. We're not well stacked in the midfield. And Didi is the answer to all our problems, says African Rebel. And we must follow the Liverpool model, says MD. And there's better alternatives to Ndidi now, says Tom. But yeah, I do. But the one thing I do agree with is the January transfer window does present lots of problems in relation to removal of players, and I think that'll be very difficult. I mean, Newcastle have got money. Anthony Martial is a good one to just discuss very, very quickly. In relation to Anthony Martial, obviously he said that he wants to leave. And that has been said before, and he's still here 2 years later. He got a new contract, didn't he? So who knows? Maybe it's a cry for help. Maybe it's a threat. Maybe it's a fact. that he wants to go. But the issue you've got with Anthony Martial more than any other player is that he's on about 250 grand a week. And he's got about 2.5 years left on his contract. So for him to leave, where are you going to go? Like, where are you going to go? I mean, I'm sure an Arsenal would like him, but they're not going to want to pay him 200 something grand a week, and they're not want to give his 30-40 million. So I don't see Martial actually going in January unless it's a loan deal. Unless he went somewhere like Newcastle, in which case would he want to go to a Newcastle? So I don't know. I don't know with Anthony Martial. I think it's one of those problems that Manchester United have created themselves over the years, where we hand out ridiculous wages. I mean, look, here's another hypothetical. Imagine Tellez becomes our first choice left back and Luke Shaw goes, I've just played a Euros final. I've been called Roberto Carlos. I've been one of the best left backs in Europe for the last year. I can't play football now. I want to leave. And Ranić and United go, fine, you can go. But he's on nearly 200 grand a week. Where's he going to go? And this is the problem United present themselves time and time again. If you look at the wages at Liverpool or Man City, they're far more realistic compared to what we pay. And look, imagine Harry Maguire falls on hard times and becomes useless. Massive wages, £80 million signing. How do you remove we've seen it with Phil Jones. Like, Phil Jones has been stuck at this club for years. I mean, injuries have been a problem, but we pay silly wages. So I think Martial leaving is going to be very, very difficult. Lingard coming towards the end of his contract, that's easy to do either way. Donny, again, we didn't pay massive wages and we didn't pay a massive fee, so that could happen if we wanted it to. But I think Martial's a difficulty. Pogba's obviously out of contract as well. Matic, these are players. We can remove a lot of players, but getting money for Martial will be difficult. Kane says, today will be such a boring day now. This COVID propaganda is taking a toll on my mental health. Just as we got a new manager, we need to wait, says Kane. Well, as I said this morning, United Stand's not going to go anywhere, so you've always got the live community to interact with, and you're doing the right thing. I mean, it's after the morning show this morning, I just felt quite tired and drained. I was just like, so looking forward to the match, and now it's not going to happen. And some people would say it's only football, but it does have an impact on you. It is something that we enjoy, and it is a shame it's not going to happen. I mean, obviously the concern now is that the Brighton game won't happen. Armchair Pilot says, Rudiger is fantastic in a back five. In a back four he gets exposed. United would have to change the system to get the best out of him. I disagree. I think Rudiger with Varane would be absolutely fine. Imagine Maguire becomes useless. He already is, says Ashley Smith. When I said that, I thought I was sort of setting Harry up for a bit of stick there. I mean, obviously, I don't think that. I don't think that. But do you rate James Garner as a CDM for United? Says Shag. I think it's very difficult with James Garner simply because he's very young and he's playing in the Championship, and I think next season, not now. So there you go. I mean, I love these sort of comments, and I will shout them out. Iak says, so your entertainment is more important than players' lives. I mean, it's that sort of sensationalist bollocks that winds people up. Mate, as I said this morning, people in this country can't get screening for, suspected cancer. That's so your COVID's more important than that, is it? So you can swings and roundabouts with all sorts of bullshit. All I would say is I don't want to be locked down anymore. I don't want to be, not going to the pub anymore or not going to see family and friends anymore. I don't want to do that anymore. So you can say that's selfish. You can say whatever you like. But what I would say to you is, what players' lives are in danger? Why are footballers' lives in danger? Why is that being levelled at people who are disappointed that the game's been called off? Whose life's in danger? What footballers have died of COVID? Let's not be melodramatic here. The game has been called off for medical reasons and we must respect those. But let's not pretend if Man United went and played against Brentford, they were all going to drop dead. That's not why it's been called off. It's been called off because we're still living under this regime of trying to stop people catching COVID, which is not going to happen. It is not going to happen. We're not going to stop the spread of COVID, and that is basically why the game has been cancelled, because they're trying to stop the spread of COVID. Because you can't have footballers playing with COVID. I get that, but it's still disappointing. And I've now got people saying their families are susceptible. I'm bored of it. I'm absolutely bored of this conversation. You have your opinion, we'll have our opinion. You're speculating. You're absolutely spectacular. Their families are at risk because they're going home to their risk. If a Manchester United footballer's got COVID, do you think they're going to go and live in a caravan for a week? They're going to go home where their family and friends are. Like, do you not realise what people do when they isolate? They don't go and fucking live in a bedroom on their own. Like, they don't do that. You're totally missing the point of what's happening with football. Football will get shut down because they can't have footballers playing with COVID because it's just stupid, isn't it? So you've got to be COVID free to play football. But the reality is it's so infectious at the moment that so many people are getting it that you can't get enough bloody players to do it. That's going to be the problem. It's not because, oh, you can't play football with COVID because you might kill someone. That's not what this has been around for a long time. Josu says new strain is 30% milder than the original. Well, look, vulnerable people will still be susceptible to COVID, but vulnerable people shouldn't be going. They've got their own issues to resolve, haven't they? They should be isolating and staying away from crowded places, but that's for them to do. I'm just not going to have it that if you're disappointed that this game has been cancelled, you're basically putting footballers' lives at jeopardy if you wanted them to play the game. That's not what it's all about, is it? Can Hadara play for us in the Champions League despite playing for Leipzig? I believe he can, Prashant, because I'm pretty sure this happened with Mkhitaryan and Sanchez, that you can go and play. Well, I don't know, actually. I don't know. I think because Leipzig have been knocked out of the Champions League. I don't know. It's a good question. I don't know. I don't actually know the answer to that. I think you can play in the second part of any European tournament as long as you've played, even if you played in the first part. So the group stage, playing for Leipzig in the group stage shouldn't stop him playing for Manchester United in the knockout stage. That's my understanding. So we will see what happens with that. But I might be right with that. I might be wrong. As I said at the start of the video, just in relation to all this COVID stuff, the Premier League are going to bring in a new protocol which hasn't been in play for quite a while. In fact, I can get you the quote. It's from the Times. So basically, they're going to bring in mandatory daily COVID testing. So yeah, that's what's going to happen there. And I mean, the line from the Times is the Premier League will respond to sudden escalation in coronavirus cases by introducing daily mandatory lateral flow tests for players and staff for the first time. I thought we already had that. So, it's surprising how we are running high-level sport in this country, but I would have thought we would already have had that. Yeah, it's effectively what you want to have. I suppose when you think about it, and I thought we already had this, so I'm slightly caught on the hop here. Basically, daily lateral flow testing at Premier League grounds would mean I roll up, midfield extraordinaire for United, get out of the way, Fred. I roll up. Ranić says Ranić won't be doing the tests, but I do my test. I'm COVID clear. I go and train with the rest of the lads. I do my test. I'm COVID. I'm not allowed. Piss off for 10 days. And therefore, you create a quarantine training environment, don't you? Where, obviously, you might get something slip through because the tests aren't 100%, but I'm actually surprised we don't have that in place already. But apparently we don't. So there we go. While the board have so much to answer for these issues, it's shocking the state Ollie left the squad. No CDM. People don't like to hear it, but he was awful, says Mario. Mate, you know what? More and more, I'm hearing more and more journalists, ex-players, and football fans coming round or waking up or acknowledging that Solskjaer's job at Manchester United wasn't actually a good one. I don't know where I stand on it because he's been sacked, but it seemed to me in the couple of weeks after he was sacked, it was almost like, oh, he did a great job. And all I used to say is, well, can you give me the evidence of what he did? Just what he did that was good. Because I don't think actually a lot of what he did was good. And I think there's a hell of a lot of work for Ranić to do. But I would absolutely nail on that point that we deprived and neglected the midfield area for too long. And look, you know, for me, it's like, I actually don't mind McTominay and Fred under Rangnick. I couldn't stand them under Ollie, because this back six, side-to-side crab football, it was appalling. And to be fair to those two players, they're better players in 2 weeks than they were in 3 years under Ollie. So, and that to me doesn't surprise me. I said this. How can you judge players that have not been developed for 3 years? And I purposely used Scott McTominay because he's 25. So from 22 to 25, he might have loved Ollie. You know, Ollie gave him a career, some might say, but Mourinho actually gave him a career. So McTominay, Rashford, Bruno, whoever you want to name, I don't think they've been developed for 3 years. I don't. I think they've been sent out with energy, trust and desire as their motivation, and no tactics. And I think in the last 2 games that we've seen against Palace and against Norwich, both McTominay and Fred haven't scored on my player ratings below a 6. Well, 6 is average. They've been getting 4s and 5s. So there's an improvement. I mean, they're not 8s or 9. I mean, Fred was against Palace, but they're not, you know, I wouldn't say McTominay and Fred were any better than an average 6 for me at the weekend. Some people give them a 7, but it's still an improvement. And they are improving under Rangnick, but I still don't think they're good enough for us to win titles. I'd love to be proven wrong on that. But ultimately, I don't have a massive problem with them, because they're basically all we've got. My problem is we have no alternative, and that's where I blame Solskjaer. He became so obsessed with 2 players. Matic should have gone in the summer. It was very obvious that, look, when Matic was an asset for Manchester United, he was a first teamer. If you think about when Ollie first came to the club, it was Matic, Pogba and Herrera as a midfield 3, and we were brilliant. And then after COVID, it was Matic, Bruno and Pogba, and we went from like 6th to 3rd, and we were brilliant. But Matic hasn't been any good since then, because he's finished. If Matic was good, he'd be a first teamer, but he's not good anymore. So we've basically got McTominay and Fred. We're so short in that area. We need to bring a midfielder in. So I agree with that. I think we neglected that area big time, and I wish we had another player that could just compete with McTominay and Fred and rotate with McTominay and Fred. And ideally, he's better than McTominay and Fred, because if you're going to buy a player, you should always buy a player that on paper is better. And we've seen it with the centre-back scenario, haven't we? I mean, Varane's been injured a bit, but we have got competition for places there. We've seen it with Delo and Wan-Bissaka. Matic is a good player. I agree with Wingbar. He is a good player. Just too old. He's not old. He's never going to come back now. He should have gone in the summer. 100% should have gone in the summer. But the only thing I would say Ollie did was to get rid of the Deadwood. Other than that, he did an awful job, and I cannot wait to see where he can go under Rangnick, says Juicy. Mate, to me, I don't deal in absolutes. I'm not a Sith. I'm a Jedi. And the reality, Star Wars. I'm wearing a Star Wars Christmas jumper. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer came into that club and got rid of Fellaini, and for me, that was almost a statue moment. So look, he did get rid of Fellaini, and he, you know, got rid of a few other people as well. So, you know, I'll give him that. But you know, I don't even want to talk about it really. I mean, he's gone. He needed to go. I would like to see McKenna and Carrick. Carrick's gone as well. But we'll have to wait and see. I mean, there's an update here from Eurosport. Atletico Madrid are planning to explore the possibility of an exchange deal with Manchester United for Anthony Martial. They've been given encouragement to believe he will become available in January. Now, the interesting thing about that would be, who would that be for? Because if it's for Trippier, they can go swivel on that. I don't want Trippier at Manchester United. Like, what would be the point in bringing Kieran Trippier to this football club when we've got Aaron Wan-Bissaka, who's a £50 million right back that we won't be able to sell, and we've got Delo, who's finally been given a chance. So that's what worries me about that story, is that if Anthony Martial to Atletico Madrid is actually the sort of move I think that he would want. I don't know about you. I think that would be a very good move for Anthony Martial. But I don't want Kieran Trippier. I don't want him at all. I mean, João Felix. Yeah, we don't want João Felix, but and we have been linked to João Felix, but why would Atletico Madrid give us João Felix? Llorente's interesting. Llorente would be very interesting. Llorente's a player I really like, and he could definitely play in the midfield as well as other positions, but Yeah, we don't want to be involving Trippier in that. I mean, that would be stupid. Absolutely stupid, because Trippier was an Ollie target as well. And one thing I respect Ollie for is that when he came into the club, all these targets that Mourinho had lined up, like, Perisic and Koulibaly and Milinkovic-Savic, they were binned off because they were Mourinho's targets. They weren't Ollie's targets. And Trippier's an Ollie target, so bin that off. But I think Anthony Martial to Atletico Madrid would be a good move. And it's interesting because me and Fabrizio, like we have beers together, we live in different countries, but me and Fabrizio spoke about this 18 months ago when COVID actually hit. Remember the very first COVID, and we had Fabrizio on right in the middle, and we were talking about transfers, and we were basically talking about swap deals because COVID was going to hit everybody's financials. So we were talking about how you can transfer without spending money. Because you know what? If Atletico Madrid want to buy Anthony Martial and we say 50 million quid, where are they going to get 50 million quid from? But if Atletico Madrid come to us and say we want Anthony Martial and we're willing to give you Llorente or whatever, then that becomes a deal that United might want to look at. So I'm very surprised that we haven't seen more swap deals because clubs' finances are tighter than they have been, and it'd be interesting. It's interesting. I mean, I don't think it's definitely going to happen or anything like that, but I certainly think it's interesting. And you have got a player that certainly does want to leave Manchester United as things stand at the moment. So yeah, be interesting to see what happens with that. Have you heard about Marcus Rashford being linked to Barcelona? No, and it won't happen. I mean, where are Barcelona going to get £100 million from? United would never want to sell Marcus Rashford. Whether that should happen or not, they would never want that to happen. Mark, we don't want Saul Niguez. He's finished and may even look to end his loan at Chelsea. He can't handle Premier League intensity. Well, I purposely ignored the Saul Niguez links because it's not worked out for him. It's very sad about Saul Niguez, and he was a player that I was quite excited for United to bring to United in the summer, but obviously he went to Chelsea. But in hindsight, that's not worked out. He's not done well in the Premier League. He had a bad year in La Liga the year before. 2 years ago, I think we all would have took Saul Niguez at Manchester United, but there's something amiss there, isn't there? So, no, I don't think you can be looking at that sort of a position. And just further to that, it's expected that Atletico will reach out to United towards the end of the month to discover more about Martial's situation. Sources feel they will ask if there are any Atletico players that Man United would be keen on to help open up a deal. And that, I mean, it's from Eurosport, so it's speculation, but I wouldn't be opposed to it. I certainly wouldn't be opposed to it. So yeah, well, let's see what happens with that. But it's. I'm a big fan of Anthony Martial. I know some of you aren't, some of you are. But this is where agenda for me goes to bed, because I'm not really bothered about favourite players. I mean, look, tonight, if the game had gone ahead, maybe Donny wouldn't have played in the midfield. Maybe he would have played where Bruno plays, and Bruno would have been on the bench. And I would have gone, new manager, reset. It's not like Bruno's been pulling up trees recently. Fair enough. I'd like Anthony Martial to have a go under Ralph Rangnick. Maybe again, I'll go back to what I was talking about McTominay and Fred. Like, Martial's been trained by Ollie for 3 years. I think there's an excuse for every player, whether it's Harry Maguire, Anthony Martial or Marcus Rashford. I think they've all got an excuse that they've not been developed over 3 years. I'd like to see Anthony Martial under Rangnick give it a go, but I don't think he wants to give it a go. He's been here a long time. He's in his mid-20s. Does he want to give it another year and end up not being picked? I think, his Man United career has been very up and down, Anthony Martial. Came in, scored that great debut goal against Liverpool. Had a fantastic season under Van Gaal. Mourinho came in, took his number 9 shirt and gave it to Zlatan. Just did it. Misused him. Ollie came in, did really, really well. Then Ollie went and bought Cavani, and that just derailed him as well. So I think Martial would look at it, rightly or wrongly, and say, look, every time I thought I was going to build a career at United, they went and bought another player in. So maybe he just wants a new challenge. Maybe he does. Maybe that's what it's all about. But I'd like to. It's not like we do it very often, but I quite liked what we did with Alexis Sanchez, where we didn't really spend any money. It was a swap for Mkhitaryan. You remove a player that you want to go, and I would like to see United doing more swap deals, but we've got to prioritise the midfield. And is there a midfielder at Atletico Madrid that you feel that could come in and really improve our midfield? I'd leave that down to Ranić and co. But if you could swap a Martial for a really good midfielder, I'm up for that. Don't spend any money, but remove a player who wants to go and bring in a midfielder. It would be good. Silent Killer says, Rudiger to United, what are you smoking, Goldbridge? Mate, I don't think it's going to happen. I think this is a story coming from Germany. I don't know whether it's actually coming from Christian Falk. I don't know. Let me just check on Twitter, but it is coming from Sky Germany, and I heard the words Manchester United enter the Christian Rudiger transfer poker, but no, he's not said anything about it. So it's not actually from Falk, who normally talks about poker when he's talking about transfers. But Manchester United have been linked to Rudiger from Sky Germany, and the basis of this is that he's out of contract in the summer, which I wasn't actually aware of. So I don't think we get Rudiger. I think Chelsea have got every right to laugh at us, but he may well go to Real Madrid. I mean, he can speak to Real Madrid in 2.5 weeks because he's out of contract, isn't he, in the summer? So yeah, let's see what happens with that one. But it's certainly a player I would bring to Manchester United. I mean, he's 29 in March, though. He is 29 in March. Does it fit the sort of profile that Manchester United should be looking at? Rudiger, 29. Harry Maguire's getting on for that sort of age. Varane's around that age. I know a lot of you sort of feel that Twansebi might come back into the equation, but he's not even getting into the Villa team at the moment, is he? So, yes. So we're going to do a United Stand show at 7 o'clock tonight, because I will be doing a watch along on That's Football tonight. Hopefully Leeds Man City. If not, I'll do Villa Norwich. But I'm watching fucking football tonight. United ain't going to stop me. I'm watching football tonight. That's what I'm doing. And then I'll probably do my FIFA career mode after that. I was meant to be doing FIFA career mode this afternoon, but I'm halfway through cooking Christmas dinner. Yes, Goldbridge is cooking Christmas dinner on the 14th of December. So he can put a video out, which I've been asked to do, which is Goldbridge Cooks Christmas Dinner, which will be coming out towards the end of the week. So I'm halfway through at the moment, so I can't give it up. If you've ever cooked Christmas dinner before, it's like building a title-winning side. It's all these fundamentals that come together at the end of May. So but on Christmas. Villa Norwich, you're definitely on Manscaped, says Jaden. And I hope Maguire doesn't play against Atletico. Griezmann and Suarez will turn him inside out. Oh, give Maguire some... I nearly said give Maguire some shit. Give Maguire some slack. Look, I'm not... What's the improvement been with the players that have been... Look, I got tagged in something yesterday and I was just like, oh, okay, I'm not even going to bother reading this, because it's almost like, you know these people, you know who I mean, right? Admittedly, Fred and McTominay have not been bad the last 2 games. They haven't been bad, and I'll argue that with anybody. But from August to middle of November, they were trash, absolutely trash. So you've got people now saying, oh, the stick that McTominay and Fred get is ridiculous. It's an agenda. Because they've not done bad in the last 2 games. And I'm like, well, God, just wind your neck ins, you prats. Like, well, what are you talking about? They've been absolutely trash for 3 months and they've had 2 decent games. Under a new manager. What a surprise. What a surprise. So, look, there's some positivity around them at the moment. They're doing quite well. You've got to say the same about Harry Maguire. Like, he has been trash for 3 months, but I do think he's been a bit better under Ranić, and hopefully they're going to get better and better. I don't like the historic agenda against players. I don't feel that they deserve to bring their form from Ollie into the Ranić era, and I don't think that Maguire's been that bad in the 2 games he's played for Ranić. So let's hope he can build out on that. But look, there's no lying that, I'll argue it with anybody. McTominay, Fred, Harry Maguire, Marcus Rashford, Bruno Fernandes, they've been crap for 3 months in the main. I mean, Bruno has still contributed, to be fair. He's pulled out some amazing assists, and Rashford scored a good goal against Leicester. But they have been crap for 3 months, and, but we're under a new manager now, so let's wait and see. I mean, Dehelm says, so it's now wrong to demand consistency and quality in players. No, but no, you're absolutely right. You're right. It's not wrong to demand consistency and quality. But what I'm saying is it right to use their form under Ollie now? I personally think you have to reset from the new manager. That doesn't mean you have to forget the bad form. It's there. And if they perform badly under Rangnick, then of course you've got every time to glance back at what they were doing a couple of months ago. But I do believe, personally, there has to be a reset. And, you know, I'm judging McTominay and Fred on the last 2 games because they're under Rangnick. I'm not looking back under Ollie because I know the tactics were completely different. So, and I'm not saying that they're pulling up trees and playing fantastic. I don't think anybody did that against Norwich other than David De Gea. So there's still a lot of work for improvement. But I think the encouraging thing for me is, and tell me if I'm wrong, we still need more signings. We still need to improve. But can you tell me a United player that has been trash against Palace and Norwich to the levels they were under Ollie? And I can only probably think of 1 or 2 you could argue. And that's not bad considering before under Ollie you'd be talking about 7 or 8. So there has been I wouldn't say an improvement, but there's been a steadying of the ship. We're seeing more average performances now. When under Ollie, we're seeing a lot of below average performances. And that is improvement. If we can take those average performances into above average performances, then all the better. But yeah, I mean, look, I personally don't think Jonathan McTominay was bad against Palace. I thought he was average, and I thought he was around average against Norwich, which is an improvement. Rashford, yeah, he has been below. And arguably Bruno's been below as well in the certainly in the Norwich game. But you know, Norwich wasn't a great performance, was it? That's why I was really looking forward to the game tonight, because I knew Brentford would be better than Norwich, and I knew we'd have to be better than we were against Norwich. But look, we spent a lot of time this morning talking about this, so I don't want to go back on it. It's been nice to talk about actual team matters and incomings and outgoings, but you know, we're like this now, 50-50. If we don't play against Brighton, we're not playing for another 8-9 days, which means we'd have 16 days without a game if we don't play against Brighton, between Norwich and Newcastle, if Newcastle goes ahead. But we're going to be in the hands of Brighton. We're not in the hands of Manchester United. Manchester United have already put their protocols in place. We should be able to put a team out against Brighton. I think United will be able to put a team out against Brighton. But Brighton have got a few COVID issues, and they're playing tomorrow night. Now, are they going to wake up on Thursday and go, we don't want to play, you know, Wednesday night, Saturday morning, they're playing. If you're Brighton, put your hands up. Put your hands up. If you're Brighton, are you really going to want to play Man United on Saturday lunchtime when you played on Wednesday night? And are you going to try and push, you know, we've got a bit of COVID? I don't see us playing against Brighton on Saturday lunchtime, but I would still say there is a chance at 50-50. But we'll wait and see. Could they put a game back until next week? We've got a game next week. We haven't got a game next week. I don't think Brighton have got a game midweek next week. The problem is there's not a massive appetite to put a game back by 3 or 4 days. That very rarely happens because of transport, planning, Christmas. You know, I was told this morning that if Brentford and Brighton get postponed, they'll both get played in January because United don't have midweek games in January. So yeah, we'll see what happens with that. Paul says that De Jong would be another Donny. He would struggle with the speed and physicality of the Premier League. Yeah, get your questions in. I've really enjoyed the show, actually. It's been really good. Especially after this morning. I just felt totally pissed off this morning. I don't know about you. I mean, I'm not going to pretend that I was in a bad way, but I was just pissed off, to be honest. Twitch will definitely be back tomorrow at 3 o'clock. I was hoping to do it tonight. I'm very excited to start the Season 2 of my United Stand FC FIFA Career Mode. We've just been promoted from the Championship, so we're into the Premier League now. So I'm very excited to get it started, but I can't do it today in the day. I might do it tonight, but I might just wait till tomorrow. Donny can play at this speed, says Manon, and you know what? When it comes to a midfielder, I'm going to do a video on it at some point, especially with Christmas coming up. Maybe a top 5 or something like that. But when it comes to a midfielder, I'm not snobby. Like, some people want Declan Rice. I'd like Declan Rice. Some people want De Jong. I'd like De Jong. But some people want Ndidi. I'd like Ndidi. But they're all going to cost a lot of money. I'd be happy. This is where Rangnick, to me, becomes very important. Because if Rangnick says you don't need Declan Rice, get this lad from Leipzig, or you don't need Declan Rice, get this lad from Marseille, that excites me. Because I've got to be honest, you talk about the Kantés and the Ndidis and, you know, really good midfielders. Where did they come from? They came from good scouting by Leicester. I would love Manchester United to utilise this man in Ralf Rangnick, who is superb at this sort of thing. You know, finding players like Kimmich and others and bringing them through, and they go on. I'd be more excited if United spent £30 million on a player that Rangnick believes is going to be a superstar than is spending £80 million on a player that's, you know, not a risk, but costs a lot of money. Tchouameni's another one as well. Yeah. Jay Shaw says apparently De Jong's father has ruled him out going to Manchester United. No, he didn't. He probably just misread articles that have misquoted it. What Frankie De Jong's father, what Daddy De Jong said is that 5 top clubs have inquired about De Jong, of which Manchester United is probably one. However, what he did say is it's very unlikely that he will leave in January. That's what he said. He didn't rule out any club. Bayern and United have been mentioned, but he didn't rule us out. He just said that it's very unlikely that he will leave in January, which it is. It is very unlikely that he will leave in January. Although, let me just throw this into the equation. If Atletico Madrid are interested in Martial and are sort of talking to us about what players we'd like from Atletico Madrid, Anthony Martial, Barcelona, get on the call. Barcelona will do a swap deal. They'll have a midfielder that we want, De Jong. So, you know, swap deal with that. But the trouble with Barcelona is they won't be able to afford his wages. Although Aguero must have been on good wages, so maybe they could replace it that way. But yeah, I wouldn't mind that. Lots of people liking the fact that Donny and De Jong would rip teams apart. Well, Donny can't even get in the bloody team at the moment. Varane as a centre defensive midfielder. Now, Ash, I'll give you a shout out. That's the first. You're the first. You won't be the last, but you're the first. Nobody in their right mind would swap Martial for De Jong. Yeah, but Barcelona have got a history of making bad decisions. Aguero is going to announce his retirement tomorrow. Apparently Pep Guardiola is flying over there for that. And Double D, says Matthew McFadyen, De Jong and Van der Beek. And we need a centre-back. Right, let me just have a quick look to see if there's anything else just come out while we're live. It's always worth having a quick look. You never know what might come out. Oh, I've given up on Fantasy Premier League, by the way. I wasn't doing well anyway. Yeah. Mate, look. If Manchester United go after Kieran Trippier, I'll be gutted. Absolutely gutted. It doesn't make any sense. 3 months ago it made sense, but it doesn't make sense now. So if we let Martial go to Atletico Madrid and bring Kieran Trippier the other way, I'll be gutted. And United have put a lot of work into Trippier, and there was a lot of belief that Trippier was going to come to United. But why? We don't need him. He's 31 next. We've got Dalot and Wan-Bissaka. Like, Wan-Bissaka's not going to go anywhere because we're never going to get that money back at the moment. We need to work on Wan-Bissaka. He needs development. And Dalot is taking his opportunity at the moment. We've got our right backs. We have got our right backs, and we've got our left backs. So I don't want to see Trippier anywhere near this club. It'd be a waste of time. It really would. We need a midfielder. I don't think Rangnick says yes to that goes against his principles, says Matty. I would hope so, but also what you've got to remember is that Murtaugh's still there, Darren Fletcher's still there, and they were involved in the Trippier conversations in the summer. So they might say this is the deal that we want to do. But I'd be stunned if we did it, because it doesn't make sense anymore. And the one thing you've got to do in football is be adaptive and reactive and move. And what was good for you 6 months ago might not be good for you now. And we don't need a right back now. We don't need a right back now. We've also got Ethan Laird doing a fantastic job at Swansea. And all right, he might not be ready yet, but you know, we're quite good in the right back situation. For me at the moment, Delo is in control of the shirt. I want to see Wan-Bissaka respond to that, like Luke Shaw did when we brought Tellez. I want to see Wan-Bissaka developed by Rangnick's coaching, because he definitely needs that. And I'm happy for those two to fight it out for the next year. In a year's time, it might be that we need to, you know, look at selling a right back, but not in the next 12 months. We're all right for 12 months. And in 12 months' time, like I said, Ethan Laird might come through. So, yeah, lots of things there. When's the next United Stand Career Mode episode? Tobias, well, it will definitely be at 3 o'clock tomorrow, but it might be at about 10:30 tonight. We'll see what happens this evening with the Premier League games. Anyway, look, thanks everyone for watching. Kessie for Martial. Yep, I'll do that. Franck Kessie's available in January as well. It depends what Rangnick thinks of Kessie, doesn't it? Yeah. But lots to be positive about, apart from the fact that we're not playing football. That's the thing that we need to establish. When are we going to be playing football again? We just have to keep an eye on things. Really, really unfortunate not to be playing tonight. Really, really disappointing. But we'll be live again at 7 o'clock. Join us for that. I've got Adam and Levin on the show with me, so a little bit of an interactive show. I will be sharing that one. And then I will be doing a watch-along tonight, because you know what? I'm watching football tonight one way or another. So, Man City leads. Thanks everyone for watching. Make sure you smash a like on the video, subscribe. Keep yourselves focused. You know, we're not going anywhere. We're going to still have all our normal shows, and hopefully we will get some football again soon. But take care, stay safe, and try and stay positive. I'll speak to you all in a bit.